When you think about marriage, what comes to mind? Probably love, commitment, family. But what if one of its biggest roles today is actually financial? In this explainer, we're going to dive into some pretty surprising data that frames marriage not just as a romantic union, but as one of the most powerful economic strategies out there. So, let's get into it.
Okay, so at the heart of all this is a really bold claim. Being married has become a modern luxury status symbol. I mean, think about that. Economists are looking at the data and saying it's not just a sign that you have money, it's a powerful tool for creating it.
So, you've got to be wondering, right? How on earth did this happen? How did this institution we all associate with love and companionship become what some economists are now calling a powerful financial strategy? Well, let's follow the data and see exactly how it works.
First up, let's tackle this idea of marriage as a new luxury symbol. We're going to look at the surprising economic data that's really driving this whole conversation.
So, what's the secret sauce here? What's the engine that's powering this financial advantage? It really all boils down to one simple but incredibly powerful concept: the two-income safety net. And this is how married couples can seriously compound their wealth over time.
Just think about it this way. With one partner's income covering the essential bills, the mortgage, the groceries, all that stuff, the other partner is totally freed up. They don't have to take the first job offer that comes along just out of desperation. Instead, they can afford to be strategic, to hold out for a role with a much higher salary.
This creates this amazing wealth compounding cycle. It's like a career tag team. One partner's income acts as that stable base, allowing the other to go hunt for a better job. Once they land that higher pay, boom, they can then provide the support for their partner to do the exact same thing. And over time, this leapfrogging effect doesn't just add to their income, it compounds it.
And this flexibility, this is the crucial difference. It's the game changer. A married couple might be able to go a few months, maybe even 6 months, to find that perfect, high-paying role. But a single person, they rarely have that kind of luxury. That constant need for a steady paycheck can force them to settle for a lower-paying job much sooner.
So this new economic reality is actually changing the rules of attraction. I mean, it makes sense, right? If marriage is this powerful financial tool, then the qualities people look for in a partner are probably changing too. Let's see what the data has to say.
And this is where perception just totally clashes with reality. We're often told that what matters most are things like youth and physical attractiveness. But when economists actually analyze the data, they find that today's biggest factors for getting married are purely economic. We're talking income level, job seniority, and education. This all leads to a really fascinating paradox, especially when we look at the wealthy. There's this huge gap between what they often say about marriage in public and what they're actually doing in private.
The public message we hear, particularly from influential voices, that marriage is an outdated concept. The whole narrative pushes independence and suggests that relying on a spouse is, old-fashioned.
But here's the contradiction. The same people who publicly dismiss marriage are, in their private lives, overwhelmingly likely to be married. And not just married, they are often in very traditional family structures, reaping those exact same economic benefits we've been talking about. And this whole do as I say, not as I do thing has real consequences. Young people who take that public message to heart and choose to stay single, well, they may be unknowingly putting themselves at a significant long-term financial disadvantage compared to their peers who decide to get married.
Okay, so given that potential financial disadvantage, it makes sense to look at the decision to marry through one last, very pragmatic lens. The lens of an investor making a calculated bet. To do that, we need a key financial concept: risk-adjusted return. It sounds a little complicated, but it's simple. You don't just look at how much profit an investment makes, you have to weigh that profit against the risk you took to get it. The holy grail is always a high return with low risk. So when economists apply this idea to marriage, their conclusion is pretty striking. They argue the potential financial upside, that wealth compounding, the career flexibility, is so massive that its risk-adjusted return is incredibly high. The potential gains, they suggest, far outweigh the potential financial risks. And yeah, that even includes a costly divorce.
And that leaves us with a final provocative question to chew on. When you strip away all the romance and just look at it through a purely economic lens, could marriage be the single best investment you're not making? It's a challenging thought to end on. Thanks for watching.